Good evening, ladies and gents. My name is Hjelzu, the bearded Balkan blabbermouth, and I am DiscussThing. And today we have what is probably the biggest confirmation that rumors, analytical thinking, and good sources are very, very well to have, especially when you vet those sources and you have a good line of thought and probably are a bit okay with doing some basic numbers and predicting human behavior. Now, what I'm talking about might sound a little bit vague and probably a little bit complicated, like what about human behavior or what else, but trust me, it's very, very simple. It's nothing complicated, and it concerns a video game that we have talked about a lot before on this channel, and the game's name is of course Dragon Age: The Veilguard from BioWare. But before this video continues, if you enjoy my content, if you want to support me on YouTube, click the join button and become a member of the DiscussThing guild. I have 3 tiers and awesome perks on each and every one of them. In addition to this, you can subscribe, like, share my content and comment below the video to share your thoughts with me on every video. I appreciate and I do enjoy a good discussion and talk. Thank you very much. Back to the video. So, this is a post from the user Kami, who said Dragon Age: The Veilguard reportedly missed EA's expectation by 50% with around 1.5 million players. Now, this is a link for an article in Bloomberg. However, Bloomberg is paid and I do not enjoy paying for those kinds of websites. I support a very small number of news reporters, and they include people that I actually trust and are actually rich of integrity. So let's open IGN. Dragon Age: The Veilguard had 1.5 million players in first 2 months. EA expected 3 million. So, if you have been with my channel for the past several months, you know that I made some very bold projections that Dragon Age: The Veilguard will not underperform, will fail, because this, to me, is a failure, and I'll explain why. A lot of YouTubers, a lot of people speculated that it's either going to underperform or it's just going to break even, not me. I saw and I semi-accurately predicted that it will sell around 1.5 to 2 million, because this is not going great for them since day one. And to prove that, we have the Gamealytics stats. So the Gamealytics stats take the information from Steam, and the high estimate here is 1.1 million. Now, if you have been following the channel for the past few months, you will know that it was reported that Dragon Age: The Veilguard sold around 500k on consoles, and which makes these numbers very, very accurate actually, and this is the highest estimate possible. So they sold a total of 1.5 million copies or around that in the first 2 months, which in this case means that this is basically the peak that they're gonna reach. Maybe they'll sell around possibly 500,000 more within the next year, because the interest for this game is utterly destroyed. The interesting part, however, in this case is that EA apparently expected 3 million, which, yeah, it's twice as more. However, it's still not enough. And let me explain again. 3 million copies sold by $60 each would make the game's profit of a total 180 million, which is good if you ask me. However, every platform has a cut. For instance, Steam's cut is 30%, which would mean that $54 million of those profits would potentially go to Steam. This is amazing. This is $54 million, making it in the $120 million range as profits. And when you add the other cuts from the other platforms, then you go down to around 100 million in total profits. And this is where it gets weird, because if EA expected 3 million in the first 2 months, that would mean that they expected to have that number and those profits as reportable for the quarterly reports to the company, which means that they either knew that the game was going to be a failure and they just didn't want to present it as such a huge failure, or for some reason this game costs so little to make that 100 million would actually at least break it even. The thing is, we still don't know how much this game costs. We still don't know what the production cost is. There have been a lot of speculations from 180 million, 150 million, 120 million to 250 million dollars and above. We don't know. However, we can speculate, and a game like Dragon Age must cost, if we are to get every game that has been recently released by such AAA studios, would be at least in the realm between 150 and 180 million dollars around. So that would mean that in any case, EA never expected this game to make a profit. They didn't expect it to be a massive success. They didn't see it as something that will bring them money. And this is pretty weird, because why would you post such a game from such a franchise and not have the biggest hopes for it to be successful? And in addition to this, take a look at this. This just came around. Look at what's happening. This is just for today. This is EA stock 142, Wednesday 22nd, which was yesterday, and today, let's go, bam, 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 and we just got to 170, and it's continuing to fall. It's gonna probably close at this, and tomorrow we'll probably see more and more. This is right after yesterday's news about Dragon Age the Veilguard. This is what's happening. I don't know what their angle is. I don't know what they're thinking, but EA just lost a huge chunk of money and credibility. I still don't get why this is. I have some speculations, of course, being that they just wanted to push as much of the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion message towards the masses, with Tash being trans, with the Barf doing with all the absolute abhorrent dialogue and ideology inserted into this propaganda piece that they still insist is an actual game. But still, this is so blatant, because you're just clearly saying to everyone, yeah, we know it's gonna be a fail. We just made it so we can push our agenda and you should eat it up. And they actually expected for a lot of people to eat it up, actually. Like 3 million copies in the first 2 months. That's not bad at all by any merit. Like, this is serious stuff. 3 million people playing the game and experiencing what this piece of shit is, one way or another, or to a certain degree. They had semi high hopes, especially with the history of this game, but it didn't happen. That's the reason it didn't happen. That's the main thing. They sold 1.5 million, and that is without counting returns, of course, because we still don't know how many people returned the game and refunded the game. So the number and the price and the profits might be even lower than we're talking right now. And I'm sure that out of those 1.5 million people, at least 100,000 have at one point refunded the game. This is my expectation. Like 100,000 people at least have bought, played it to a degree, and refunded the game because it was just so bad. Or they have bought the game and then the controversies were revealed and they refunded even before the game's release. As we can see, the game still hasn't broken the 89,000 and it will never will. This is the highest that they're going to get. It's not going to get any better for them. Any new sales that they might receive will be of the hundreds per month. They won't get anything substantial more. The rating is slowing down. It's on the 69%. It was a lot more before. So this is just going to be worse and worse. But again, the thing that baffles me the most is that this was apparently as expected of EA. They just didn't have in mind to have the game as a success, which means that they probably thought it's just a mandatory release and they didn't give it much thought. And that's on one hand enraging to me, because if you're releasing a game, and a game which is next in like a continuation and a sequel in the franchise of several games having been released before it, then you should have some incentive to have a passion project. Now we know that Corinne Bush, the man pretending to be a woman, did insert his own ideology and struggles in the game and make it a focal story point in the narrative, and seeing like nobody stopped him from doing that, even knowing how badly gamers would react. That means that they just didn't care. It was just another propaganda piece to do some stuff that they probably get profit out of in some other way. I refuse to believe that EA is a company that wouldn't gain something from it. BioWare is losing, but EA is ultimately winning, and the supposed and alleged closing of their Edmonton office is something that EA would probably still profit of once those BioWare people allegedly and possibly are gone. We're talking about over 200 people that might potentially, if the rumor turns out to be true, will remain unemployed and possibly having a hard time finding a new job in a new company. Those are the same people, by the way, who were almost entirely responsible for Dragon Age the Veilguard. This was the office that made the game. We still don't know the production budget, but we know that Dragon Age the Veilguard didn't underperform. It failed. It absolutely failed. It didn't make any money. It costs a lot of millions of dollars and a lot of pure millions of dollars losses, and that's something that will be a stain on BioWare for forever. Actually, they won't recover the reputations from that. If they survive long enough to release the next Mass Effect franchise, they'll need to release it. If they want to be a company in the coming future, they will have to release it in a way that will please the entire gaming community, and I don't see that happening. It's just not possible for me to perceive it, because any hope has dwindled away in the past few weeks. The fact that it's absolute radio silence on all fronts, and that we only get leaks from insiders and nobody is even brave enough to step out and say, okay, we failed, we're gonna do better, just speaks to me that they know what's happening. They just want to have their heads in the sand, do the ostrich maneuver, and just hope that it will all go away. Sadly to say, it's not. It's not going away. We're here, we're gonna be monitoring this, and we're gonna fight the good fight. That's what we're going to do until everything is back in its perfect pre-woke balance. Thank you for watching this video if you did so far. If you enjoyed this content, please press the like and subscribe buttons, press the join button and join the DiscussThing guild. And if you want to help support homeless animals and animals in shelters with veterinary care, food, shelter, and whatever we can afford, press the Patreon link down in the description below and become a Patreon member there. Share your thoughts with me. I do enjoy having good conversations, and I'll be happy to read every single opinion that you have and every single thought that you have on this video. Thank you very much. My name is Heozu. This was DiscussThing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers and stay fresh.